Jacob headed toward his college on Snowflake's back at high speed. Snowflake was no longer the same as before, and it could go as fast as a nascent Soul Realm cultivator now that it had a set of flight treasures. It arrived above the university in just the blink of an eye. Jacob found a quiet place to land and put Snowflake into the necklace. Then he quickly headed towards the place all his friends were supposed to be. He called Sam and asked for the room number. Then he hurried into the karaoke place and found their room. Currently, Sam was focused on singing a love song when Jacob entered.
"How come you were so late? We are almost done here,"
Ryan shouted when Jacob walked in. "I had something to do and just got back," Jacob answered vaguely. Jacob did try his best to rush back for Ryan's birthday. Although the issue with the North Atlantic Dragon Clan was giving him a headache, Jacob couldn't put his friends behind. The guys from the university had always been by his side, and he didn't want to let them down.
Here, sing a song."
Sam stuffed the microphone into Jacob's hand. There was still half a song left. In fact, they were all tired of taking turns singing before Jacob got there. They knew that Jacob sucked at singing, and it would be a suitable punishment to embarrass him since he was so late. Jacob had no idea what to do when a microphone was stuffed into his hand. They were all good friends, but Jacob still felt a bit awkward singing in front of a bunch of guys.
"Go ahead, it's not like you haven't sung for us before."
Another guy nudged Jacob. Sam liked to sing the most in their dorm, and he had always dragged the guys to places like this. However, Jacob usually sat on the side and listened. He would hum from time to time, but never actually sang. Jacob cleared his throat, turned to the guys once again, and laughed in embarrassment as he brought the microphone up to his mouth. After taking a deep breath, he started to sing in harmony with the music. Everyone was stunned as soon as Jacob opened his mouth. Especially Sam, who used to claim himself as a real singer. He couldn't believe his ears.
"Is it really Jacob singing?"
The right tone and the lovely voice were not inferior to those talented celebrities. Jacob immediately stopped when he noticed their weird expressions. He asked, "What's the matter?" Due to the sudden pause, they were sure that the machine wasn't accidentally playing the original song.
"You are such a good singer, and you have been hiding it from us all this time."
Ryan pushed him from the back and strangled Jacob's neck. Sam was also confused. He had been busy training with the basketball team and rarely had chances to go karaoke. He specifically picked 2 songs for today, and he felt pretty satisfied with his performance. However, he didn't expect that Jacob would completely crush him.
"This guy."
Sam looked at Jacob and wondered if he had started practicing singing recently. Jacob also didn't realize that his cultivation not only changed his aura, but also made his voice clearer and brighter. He was just copying the artists from his memory, but, to his surprise, he astonished all of them.
Keep going! Keep going!"
Everyone encouraged him to keep singing. Jacob blushed out of embarrassment. He cleared his throat and followed the lyrics on the screen. Ryan and the other guys were listening to Jacob carefully, astonished. They suddenly realized how handsome and stylish Jacob appeared to be under the spotlight. How come they had never realized that such a handsome guy had been hanging out with them all along? Jacob put the microphone down after the song finished, but the guys urged him to keep on singing. Jacob didn't want to sing anything. He really wasn't used to singing in front of a group of people. The next song was already up, and Sam had to take over the microphone since Jacob was reluctant to keep going. But, compared to Jacob, Sam sounded much worse, although he was outstanding in the group.
"You only sang half a song, and you were so late. 3 cups as a punishment."
Ryan carried the cups of liquor to Jacob when his own face was slightly flushed. They were all in a good mood today, so they all had a few drinks. Jacob knew that he was guilty, so he belted all 3 cups of drinks without rejecting them. Jacob felt the warmth in his stomach after those 3 cups of liquor. However, such little alcohol was not a problem for him at all. Jacob could easily push the alcohol out of his body through his fingertips with the Sword Shadow Scroll. The atmosphere of the room picked up after Jacob got in. Jacob drank 1 cup after another, yet he didn't feel any discomfort. The guys were all surprised at how Jacob's voice had gotten so much better, and now his tolerance for alcohol has increased drastically as well. After 3 rounds, Jacob had gotten everyone who tried to get him drunk. They all stopped toasting when they saw Jacob was still able to drink more, although his face was slightly red. Someone else, who was still somehow able to stand, picked another song and started singing. The room finally started to sound fun again. Jacob deeply exhaled on the couch, evaporating the alcohol from his stomach. He was feeling unsettled, so he announced to the room that he was going out for some fresh air and would be back soon. As soon as he stepped out, the cold wind made him shiver a little. He had too many worries on his mind at the moment to completely enjoy his night out with his friends. He took a deep breath to try and calm his mind, but when it didn't work, only one solution came to his mind. He immediately took Snowflake out of his necklace and climbed onto its back without giving any instructions. Mixed feelings piled up in Jacob's mind as he held onto Snowflake's hair. He used to be just an ordinary student, but nowadays he was representing the North Atlantic Dragon Clan as well as the Dragon God Shrine. The entire city was in his hands. If he were just to let it be, a loss of balance might occur any day in the city. He did neglect some things, but he had to be responsible for his mistakes. Jacob pulled on Snowflake's hair and pointed to the ocean. North Atlantic Dragon Palace. Bright lights shone on Snowflake's paws as it received the command. It flew toward the ocean in the distance. Snowflake smashed into the ocean in a flash, and its speed barely changed underwater. They soon arrived at the front gate of the North Atlantic Dragon Palace. The guards immediately stepped aside when they saw Jacob. He put Snowflake away and decided to walk. Although he was the prince, he didn't want to break the rules and fly around as he wished. It was midnight, time for sleep even in the Dragon Palace. Jacob was already familiar with the structures in the Dragon Palace, so he went straight toward his destination. Lanterns were hanging high on both sides of the hall. Even at midnight, the Dragon Palace showed its elegance. When they entered Elder Kayla's palace, several female disciples nearby immediately asked cautiously, "Who is it?" "It's me. I'm here to see Susan," Jacob said. 4 third-level female cultivators in black robes got out of the side chambers. They relaxed when they saw Jacob. They knew that he was the Prince of the Dragon Palace, as well as Susan's assistant. In fact, Jacob had been checked countless times by the hidden guards on his way here. An intruder would never have reached this point. "Miss Susan has already slept. Does the prince have an emergency?" one of them asked. The female cultivators of the North Atlantic Dragon Clan mostly stayed with Elder Kayla. They would cultivate in different places during the day and come back here to rest at night. Susan was an inspector, but from the apprentices' point of view, she was their senior. Therefore, they respected Susan immensely. "I'm just stopping by. She shouldn't be asleep yet," Jacob said. He knew that Susan was obsessed with cultivation, especially now since her strength had fallen behind due to her injuries. Given how her personality was, she must be cultivating all night long. As soon as Jacob finished speaking, Susan walked out of her room in a silk robe. She waved at Jacob and said, "Come over here.